Actually, right there, I think that's my favorite match of the first round.
And San Antonio
If it stays
is
that
like,
way.
even though they're old, it's like this is the team that basically the same team that won 3 NBA titles. The only thing is they lost Manu Ginobili. If they had him, and again, this is all about what I read. I don't really watch basketball. He's apparently really good.
He's a very good player on that team. And I think what's interesting is they're tied right now for 4th and 5th. What's interesting is when they both play different games tonight. They don't play each other. But whoever ends up 4th gets the home field or home court.
And what if San Antonio ends up jumping to number 3 after tonight?
Then they would play New Orleans. I think the West is way more interesting.
It probably is. There's always one conference that's more interesting than the other. In every sport. In football, I'd say AFC, and hockey, it's one of the two.
The East. It's the East. It's the Eastern Conference.
Is it East and West?
It's East and West. Hockey and basketball are almost the same.
I think football just likes doing their own thing. They're like, screw you guys. We're going to be AFC and NFC. We're going to be American and National because we're extra patriotic.
Well, that's what baseball's got. American League and National League.
Yeah, baseball's like, we're going to be extra patriotic. Screw you guys.
But the interesting thing about the West is look at how far ahead LA is. They're 10 games up. That's how dominant they've been this year in the Western Conference.
And yet, watch them fall in the playoffs. I'm just saying, just watch them fall.
I cannot wait. I hope.
I think Cleveland doesn't make the final. I don't think they win the championship.
Oh no, Cleveland's really good.
That's what everybody says. But I don't think LeBron has a championship in him. To be completely honest with you, I just don't think he does. I think the guy puts up pretty numbers. I think that's it. I think he's the Peyton Manning or the former Peyton Manning of basketball. I just think that's what he strikes me as. He's not like Dwayne Wade or Kobe Bryant, the guy that lives for the playoffs and comes through big time in the big games. That's the only thing.
He made the finals a couple years ago. They lost.
Yeah, he willed his team to the finals, but once he got there, he was just like, guys, I'm tired. You take over. Oh crap! I got nobody with me that can play.
Yeah, not this year.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's just the thing. I don't know. Cleveland, I just don't trust making the finals and win and all. But if they do, hey, good for them. At least Cleveland finally got a title out of LeBron before he bolts for New York.
Another day again.
Says a Cleveland fan just ruled is. So did you hear Oscar De La Hoya retired?
Yes, it did.
Does it mean anything to you?
No.
Me neither. Next topic. We don't really watch. I think I wanted to mention it because it warrants mentioning because he had a stunning he's one of like the 2 or 3 biggest names in boxing.
And he had a stunning record. He was like 32-0 and then he finished like 8-6. So he's like 40-6.
And then he ended up finishing then he ended up just trying to get a bunch of paydays off pay-per-view I think I read back when he had that big fight with Floyd Mayweather, I read all about it and everybody was like, yeah, they basically just got up there and kind of like jabbed each other. Didn't really do anything. They were too afraid to get hurt, and they just want to get their payday and go home. And I think that's what people are going to remember Oscar De La Hoya as. And that one picture of him in like fishnets and a skirt.
Yeah. Next topic.
All right. Well, okay. Real quick. Somebody won the Masters. It wasn't Tiger or Phil, so you and I and nobody else probably cares. Again,
I did watch.
Oh, you did? Okay, then you can talk about it. I didn't see anything of.
Well, I watched part of it. I think it was Angel Cabrera, wasn't it?
Angel Cabrera. Or I don't think that's how it's named. I think his name is pronounced like Angel or
Angel Cabrera. Yeah. I guess I don't.
Yeah,
I watched part of it. I don't really have much to say.
I know there was one guy that
they took it to a playoff. They did take it to a playoff.
The guy that went to the playoff with him, he was actually dominant all weekend, but he ended up choking basically.
It's not Curry. Was it Curry? It was Curry.
No, somebody else. Somebody that basically has never won a major and never like really won. Like he hasn't won anything.
So that would have been cool.
Yeah, but that's the thing though. A guy like that chokes. Actually, what I've read was that Phil and Tiger had in the front 9 of the last day were making a run at it, and then they kind of basically gave it away too. So it was one of those Masters. I think that everybody just kind of goes, we don't know what's going on.
Yeah, move on. Next topic.
Well, not this, but that's what I mean.
Oh no, that's what people would say. Is what I mean.
Just like whatever. It's not Tiger. We don't know, and that's true. It's not Tiger. We don't know. I play golf. I don't watch it, and I don't really play golf either because that requires that I'm good at it.
I'm not very good either. I'm terrible at golf.
And so this brings us to our top 5.
Which we've actually touched on a couple of them today.
15 minutes. Exactly. Like we said before we started. 15
That's funny.
minutes left. Today's a little different because usually we focus on one sport when we make a top 5 list. But this week we're going to do something that's a little all-encompassing. We, as sports fans, usually find 20 million rules in different sports that we hate. We hate them. We think they're not right. They don't make sense. They don't do it right. And basically you want to change it. Everybody who wants to change it, everybody has a plan. I wish sports fans were really into things like the economy and politics, because they would have a plan. Because we always have a plan about the sports rules. But that brings us to our top 5 list today, which is basically we're going to pick 5. Each of us we're going to pick 5 rules that we hate, and we're going to tell you how we're going to change them. And
yeah, there you go. So it's kind of
that's the gist of it.
List. And we've decided it's any sport.
It's any sport. I basically only talk about 3 in mine. I only cover 3 sports.
I have 4.
There's not many other sports I care about or know the rules about enough to comment on.
Okay. Well, why don't you do the honors and start?
Okay,
today?
I'll start today.
And by the way, I'll say this before we start. I'd be very surprised if. Well, I'm sure we'll have some things the same. I'll be very surprised if they're in the same spot.
I would be surprised if we have anything the same. To be honest,
because it's so wide.
Yeah, I think there's one we'll have the same, but it won't be in the same spot.
Okay, go for it.
Number 5. I'm gonna start by saying the sport and then what the rules and what I change. Okay, the sport is NASCAR.
Okay.
Auto racing, or NASCAR in particular. The rule is, and this is actually a fairly new rule that even isn't completely in effect yet, which is the team cap. There's a cap right now on NASCAR that a team can only one person can only own 4 teams.
And it's taking effect 2010.
It's officially. I mean, basically everybody else is already under the banner. So basically, if you didn't already have 5 teams when they started this, you're good. Which everybody had 4 or less, except for Roush Racing. Roush had 5. Roush was given until next season to cut down 1, which is funny because he keeps signing sponsors and drivers over and over again. Like basically, he's wearing out he's wearing out that grandfather clause they gave him. But I think they should just do away with it. There's no point to it. I don't think there's any good reason for it. I just think they need to let guys do what they do. Even if it turns out that like one person ends up owning all the teams in NASCAR, then great. Then the whole team thing goes out the window and it becomes focused on the drivers, which is what everybody cares about anyway. There's not a team out there whose force of personality is so strong it overshadows the drivers. Maybe Richard Petty. That's only because they don't have any good drivers from Richard Petty.
I think that's I'd never thought about that. I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, I understand how it can go either way, but I don't think it would change anything if you didn't have it. And again, it's not really even fully in effect now, so why even? Let Roush do his thing. He's going to own like 10 teams if he can, but if they don't run, they won't run, and he won't own them anymore. I don't think guys can juggle more than 5 anyway.
Okay, well, my number 5 is a completely different sport, completely different
I expected it.
Topic. It's baseball.
Okay.
And now they altered this a little bit last year, which was a huge deal, but I would like to see a few more changes, and that's instant replay in baseball.
Interesting.
They have the instant replay for, and it's a million lines long of the clauses of why they use instant replay for home runs. I would like to see, and obviously this is very abstract in my mind, but I would like to see something where they use it a little more liberally than how they do. And, the thing about it slows down the game, blah, blah, blah. It'll slow it down maybe a total of 5 minutes. I mean, and I hate when people
can't slow down any more than a guy working the pitcher or something like that.
Exactly. And people use the whole slippery slope. Well, if we look at this, then we're going to look at that. I don't buy that.
Slippery slope is a faulty argument.
Yeah, exactly. And because, for example, what you see even more than the borderline home run calls is he's out by a step and a half on first base or second base, and I don't like that. You've said this before, and I'm going to agree with you, how the umps and the refs should not be the ones that have the headlines after the game or something along those lines. What you said, they shouldn't make the game. They should not be seen or whatever.
I might have said that. I don't remember.
Oh well, but I really would like to see. I mean, not every single call ever, but I would really like to see some more guidelines and some more instant replay. So I don't know. I just think that
interesting because my number 4 is baseball, and I think they should use more instant replay.
Really?
Yes, but I have specific. Actually, there's one area specifically. I think for plays at the plate and close calls at first, second, and third base, they should be using instant replay. And I think it should be a manager challenge. And here's what I think.
I was going to say that. I was totally going to say that.
Every 3 innings, you get 1 challenge. Just one. Okay? The argument against instant replay is that it'll slow down the game because they'll be challenging everything. You only let them challenge certain things. Don't be stupid.
Like
in the NFL, they don't let you challenge everything, and you can only get 2 per half. Same thing for baseball. You only get 1 every 3 innings. You're only going to probably need 1 for every 3 innings at the most. But sometimes umps get it wrong. And the thing